name's Barbara Gray from Clarity Stamp here in the UK, and welcome to YouTube Tuesday. Today I'd like to talk to you about the brayer. So many people approach me and say they get stripes when they use their brayers when they're trying to do landscapes, so I thought we'd have a little chat about how to avoid getting stripes. I use a Speedball brayer for lots of reasons. This is a soft rubber Speedball brayer. It's detachable. It's very easy to clean, and you can see, because of the colour of the roller itself, you can see what ink you're using and where the ink is sitting. Important. If this was black, I wouldn't be able to see what I was doing. That's the first thing. Secondly, one of the key ingredients to the brayer, in my opinion, is the blending mat, and I'll show you why in a moment. We have a Clarity blending mat, perfect for this. You need something to transfer the ink to spread it. So our blending mat's ideal for that. What we're going to do is use dye-based inks, not permanent inks. If we used a permanent ink like an archival, we would stain the brayer, so that's not so good. I'm going to use a distress ink today. You could use artistry inks, Adirondacks, anything dye-based, water-based is going to be perfect for this job. Now, one of the most important things about stripes is the kind of surface that you're brayering onto. Say, for example, you're using porous card like our Clarity stencil card. That's going to be less forgiving than if you use our coated Clarity card, which has got a coat on it, a sheen on it, so the ink doesn't soak in straight away, it sits on top, it's more forgiving. So let's take the more difficult one, and I'll show you a couple of little tricks. I stand to brayer. I only need one piece as well. I stand to brayer, and I certainly need my glasses. I find when I stand, I can work a lot more easily with the brayer because I tend to flick. The trick is to flick. Now let me show you this. I've got choices now. I'm going to take my pick. We're not making a card. I'm just going to show you how not to get stripes, because that's the name of the game here. First of all, I need to ink up my brayer. Now I've got choices. I can ink up my brayer directly from the ink pad like so. And let me show you what I'm doing. You'll see I'm avoiding the edge of the brayer. This is really important. As soon as I get ink on this edge, I'm going to get a stripe. It follows, right? So we're going to ink up the brayer in the centre, and then I'm left-handed, so I'm working on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to transfer the ink to my blending mat. Now, if I just go up and down like that, I'm not actually spreading the ink. So if I had a stripe from here, I'd be transferring the stripe to here. So the trick is to flick. And if I spin the roller like this, then what I'm doing is I'm spreading the ink out, but I'm also avoiding these edges. Now, back in the day, before we had a blending mat, I used to always do a wheelie, and you can still do that if you want. Say you get ink on that edge there, then all you need to do is what I call a wheelie. You go up on the edge and you just get rid of the ink. So you put your thumb there, you do a wheelie. I haven't got any on there, but that's what you would do. Yeah? Let me show you. If I go into the ink, I'm going to do it now. Now I've got ink on that edge. If I go along there, look, I've got a line, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. So if I do a wheelie like that, I'm getting rid of it. There you go. I've eliminated it again. Right, so back to the drawing board. Back in we go, and I'm always avoiding putting ink on that edge. Check that I haven't got any. Perfect. Right, now let's take a piece of this Clarity card. I just need one. And let me show you. I'm going to talk out loud. I usually do talk out loud, funny enough. I'm going to think out loud so that you can hear what my process as I'm doing this. As I start here, I'm not going straight, I'm going across the corner. And this will help. Let me show you. If I'll start in that corner, and I'm going to go lightly to begin with. Let me show you. So I start like that, and then I'm just flicking, look. And I flick, and I flick, and I flick. And you see how, as I start to go, look at this finger. This is the finger. The finger on the top of the brayer is applying the pressure. And now, I'm almost run out of ink, and I can press quite hard. But you'll see there's absolutely no stripe there. Do you see? Conversely, if I turn this round, if I come across like so, I might need, let me show you a bit more, get a bit more ink here. But you can see how you can achieve a beautiful graduated effect. By cutting across the corner, what you're doing is you're avoiding picking up this edge and dropping it off 360 degrees later. So by contrast, let's do it incorrectly. If I start up here and I don't go lightly, I press hard, and then I just rattle backwards and forwards without spinning, watch what happens. So I'll start here, and then I'm going to go like that. There's your stripe. And once you're using, this is the problem, once you're using absorbent card like this, cardstock, it doesn't matter how much you do that. All I'm going to do is keep reinforcing that stripe. I can pick up the ink, I can go back, I'll get another. I almost have to go really, really dark to try and avoid that. If you do get that, don't abandon it. It's a stripe. It's a stripe. It's not terminal. It's just a stripe. Just remember to cut across the edge. Now, the reason we're cutting across the corner as well is we're breaking up that line, aren't we? So we're not picking it up and dropping it off. That's the only trick that I figured out. See, now if you're using really wet ink, you can also, this is an extreme example of what I was showing you there. If you're doing this, then what you're not doing is going to the blending mat first. This is if you go from the ink pad straight to the card, you're going to get that band like so. Okay, so now, just before we wind it up, let's have a look at the other type of card. This is this clarity card. Let's use this instead and see how this works. We'll turn that over so you can see exactly. Now, another thing that you can do is take the ink pad and add it to the actual blending mat. Do you see? So I can do that. Say, for example, you've got those little ink pads. It would be a right monkey trying to get ink off a little tiny square ink pad. In that case, you can add it to the blending mat. Or say you want to mix up some colours, then you could put several colours on your blending mat without contaminating the ink pads, and then when you use your brayer to mix up the colour. So say you put say you put blue and red on the blending mat. We'll talk about this in another video, but you put blue and red on there. Then when you mix them up, you end up with a really nice purple. So there we are. Okay, so we've transferred the ink. We're back to basics. When you start out doing this, it's a good idea just to do a little wheelie, just to make sure, okay? This is my guiding edge. This is going in. Once again, I'm going to cut across the corner so I don't pick up. I start lightly, and then I'll start applying more and more pressure as I go down. And watch what happens. I'll tell you now what I'm going to do. I'm going to start working my way down the card. So we start up here, and we're going to get a really nice airbrushed effect. So I always start off the card and travel off the card. So you're going to go off the card, off. See? Now, because it's coated stock, what you'll see is you can move it around. You're moving the ink around on there, look. And you get this fantastic graduated effect. No stripes at all. It looks airbrushed. There we go, no stripes. That's how it works. If you want to reinforce the colour, go again. Try not to spit at your artwork or you'll get stars before you know it. Right, there you go. And you just lift that up like so. And that's how you get that lovely airbrushed effect. Okay, that'll do for today. I want to show you one more trick, and that is how to clean your brayer. It took me 20 years to work this out. I used to do it at the shows. I used to get covered in ink. Watch. This is really good. So you're going to take a baby wipe and you're going to just lay it down on your table. The simplest things, right? Hold it and then just roll over like so. So you roll over there like that. Then you lift that off. You use that 100 times. Then you take a piece of paper towel. See, I had to figure this out because my hands were always coated in ink on the telly. And I worked out that if I do it like this, I don't get ink on my hands at all. So there we go. The brayer is beautifully clean. And my hands are clean too. Right, and the only other thing is, how do we clean the blending mat? Now, the blending mat, different animal, not so good to work on cleaning with a baby wipe because it clogs up all the pores. So let's take a spritzer bottle, and I'm gonna show you something else though. There's a lot of ink on here. What a shame to waste it. Now, let me explain. I digress, but this is my party piece. If I take a stamp, for example, I could use this ink to stamp. if I wanted a really muted, see, I can actually lift ink off this edge. See, I can lift ink off there, and let's just take a piece of, let's take this one. And if I wanted to, I could actually stamp straight onto the card with that blue. And it's really muted, and I know it's very, very faded, but sometimes you don't want it black. So maybe you want it like that. It was worth a go, wasn't it? So that's one way of using the stamps. And this, for example, let me show you. If I just take a spritzer bottle, now this is the way to clean it, but why waste perfectly good ink? We can make a really nice background piece of scrap, and I do like a piece of background paper scraps. There we go, look. And when that dries, that would be lovely to wrap around a canvas. So don't waste it if it's on there. And I'm just going to pop that out the way now. And then I'll just finish up with a bit more water. Water does the job for cleaning. Paper towel, and then we'll just wipe that clean and we're good to go. Now, if you ever get a permanent ink on here, you can remove it very, very easily with blending solution. So for example, a little bit of black, I can see it on there. I'm not sure what side it's on, but I should be able to remove it quite easily. If it's not on this side, it'll be on the other side. There you go, I had a 50-50 chance, didn't I? There we go, and it's gone. So that's how you clean your blending mat. That's how you stop getting stripes. I think that'll do. I'm going to do a little project, tying all this in to show you how to take that technique and convert it into a little landscape project. But thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you have fun avoiding stripes with your brayer. And if you like this, do join, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel here. And if you're interested in buying any of the things that I use, then go to our website, www.claritystamp.com. Thanks very much for joining us and myself today, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.